good news abounds. We can always learn to speak the love language spoken by somebody we care for. We can always make a choice to engage in loving. Adults can study their children to discern which love language works best for each child. That includes the teenagers. And they can grow as they grow into some maturity, children and certainly teenagers can study parents to figure out parents' love needs. And people in all kinds of relationships. This could be with your coworkers. You can study and figure out what fills somebody else up. And for starters, with our children, we can just throw every love language there is at them. This means we can show love with quality time. Quality time means spending time together and paying attention. Screen time is very seldom quality time. Talking sideways and watching a screen is not quality time. You can do quality time singing Spirit of Life together, playing checkers, reading aloud. Parents, children, and almost everyone can engage in words of affirmation. Even if many things somebody is doing seems off target or troubling, you can honestly find something positive to say about the person to the person. Using affirming language in groups that can be contagious. So, Dad might say something affirming about Mom, and that might fill Mom's tank, but it fills up everybody's tank. It gets contagious. Let's compliment each other. Let's show we appreciate each other. That's how we grow. We can give gifts, which do not need to be expensive. They can include a simple picture you draw with crayons and give to your loved one, a pretty stone or leaf you pick up on a walk, a pack of the person's favorite chewing gum. We can speak love languages of acts of service doing for another person. Can I carry that for you? You look like you're having a hard time right now. Can I just help you finish this up? Just little things can mean a lot. And physical touch, always within the realm of appropriate and everyone having choice. The good news is it's never too late to learn how to give and receive love. Never too late. Father's Day, for some, though, is a rocky time. Rough memories can be around. Many love tanks have been left unfilled. Some people feel their fathers did not show enough love. Some fathers feel that their grown children have not done enough to show love. Many fathers grew up with macho socialization and thus were not able to be vulnerable enough to express their own needs, leaving them likely unfilled. And within that, it may be that when you reflect upon a specific relationship in your life, you might realize that you were incorrect in believing that the other person was not loving you. It may well be that the person wasn't loving you in the language you could receive or hear or understand. And that distinction can help a person move forward successfully. One person might realize it wasn't that my dad didn't love me, or even that my father didn't show love for me. It's just the fact that he spent all his time at work was his way of showing me love, and I needed quality time or affirming words, which I just didn't get enough for me. But I really see now that Dad did love me, and he was just acting like the father he was taught to be by his elders. How can I blame him too much for that? And that can create a pivot towards forgiveness. And forgiveness in so many things can be essential. Forgiveness can involve acknowledging how people fell short and making a decision to show love going forward. That's the past. This is the present. And loving is a choice that we have to make every day. Loving is a choice that we have to make many times every day. And the good news is that it's never too late to learn how to give and receive love. Another helpful activity, I really encourage this with any of your little crews of people that are important to you. We can help learn our own and each other's love languages. Parents and kids, you can do this. Friends, you can do this. Invite another person in a conversation. I think, from looking at you and thinking about it, that you prefer when people do acts of service. Like when our daughter vacuums the floor, you seem real happy. Or, I think from looking at you that you really like words of affirmation. Like when I thank you for speaking up for me at that party. You really spoke up for me, and I thanked you, and it looks like you felt that. You think I'm accurately perceiving your love language. And you can help by telling the other person what you think your love language is and check it out with each other, and then you can have that as a baseline as you go along and reflect, debrief a situation. It may sound a little flaky to you, but I think it's worthwhile. You make the choice of love. This is not the romantic, magic falling in love thing, which is great, but studies show often wears off within 2 years max. This is the daily, hourly choice. And the thing is, you make the choice to speak the other person's love language, even if it's not yours, even if you don't dig their love language. Your father could like receiving gifts, but you feel like you don't really have a good experience with giving gifts. Giving gifts sort of pulls you into unhappy materialism, culturalism, consumerism. But you could just do it to show Dad that you love him. You could write him a note that says, I give you the gift of being with you. You tell me when and where to show up, I'll be there. Sign, love me. Here's your gift. Right now, we're in another dark chapter of this country and this presidency. It's a very painful Father's Day for many families, especially those with children in the detention centers. Immigration officials are intentionally separating kids and parents, and I recommend that all families sit down and talk about this because your kids are probably going to hear about it, and it's upsetting to everyone, especially kids not knowing what's going on. We've heard documented stories of officials lying and saying, we're taking these kids over here to give them a drink of water. Never see your kids again. One mother was breastfeeding her child, and they were separated indefinitely during the breastfeeding. This week, in support of the inhumane practices, Attorney General Jeff Sessions had the gall to cite the Bible. The Apostle Paul, in Romans 13, he cited, obey the laws of the government because God has ordained them for the purpose of order. That's what preachers use to uphold slavery as well. The President, the Attorney General, and other immigration officials need to go 6 short but critically important verses farther in the book of Romans. Same letter from Paul to the people of Rome, saying, love others as much as you love yourself. No one who loves others will harm them. So love is all that the law demands. We have to demand that our country stick to a higher moral code. We can do this through the most powerful force in the world, love. What if we continue building a church that speaks multiple love languages and multiple languages? What if our families in our city become fluent in multiple languages and love languages and become so lovingly powerful we can help with others to bring our nation back on course to be her best true self? We call your senators, call our senators in Pennsylvania, call your congressmen. I encourage you as your pastor, it's not acceptable for our nation to do this. Call them up. We're going to have more protests. And we may not have a clear path forward towards healing the soul of our nation, but I know, and if you know, tell me, I know in my soul that we can do this if we go forward choosing to speak and act in languages of love. Never underestimate your power to pause, to choose, and to love. Blessings be.